let us begin Turn 2 of Campaign 3, The Great Goblin Raid. It's autumn, the Goblin turn. Again, the garrison gets 1 white die and 2 white die because it's behind a major river. Siskar casts Dust Devil, which costs them a die. Now Siskar's forces get 1 heavy die and 2 light die. He carries his treasure, the Storm God's Hammer, which gains him another white die. The defenders get 1 hit. The attackers get 2 hits. That is enough. Goblin has fallen. Now I jumped in again without doing the income phase. In the beginning of the turn, the goblins had 2 control markers and had to pay 2 gold. And in the income action phase, they laid waste to the Hornburg, and that gains them 3 gold. And it took back the 1 gold I paid earlier because I wouldn't have had to pay it because I raised it. And now Weasel Eyes heads down the river to Seakirk. Seakirk is held by Rangers. Rangers have the ranged ability, which means if these 2 forces tie, the Rangers win. Rangers get 2 white dice, Weasel Eyes gets 2 light dice, and 1 heavy die. Weasel Eye casts Mage Arrows, which give him range. Since both combatants now have range cancels out. And Weasel Eyes uses the Storm God's Hammer, gaining another white die. The Fjordland Rangers, 2 misses. This is not looking good. Weasel Eyes, 2 hits, one of which is a critical. Critical is a hit, but that's 2 hits. 2 hits completely wipes out the Rangers. The loss of that control marker by these Fjordlanders, I adjust their income phase. Their income. Trickun Mountain Trolls raise down to Belganor. The Freeholders get 2 light dice, and they're with Astrid Lofgren. It gives them another black die because she can do that if she's stacked with the Freeholder army, which she is. Turku gets 3 heavy die because of those mountain trolls and 1 white die. The Freeholder Defenders, 2 hits. The mountain trolls, 2 hits, and they're both criticals, a 7 and an 8. And 1 more is the 3rd hit, that's 3 hits. They win the combat. But 1 hit is only enough to reduce the Freeholders. They're still there. Now Finger Cutter and his Goblin Warriors come charging down. The Freeholders get 2 dice. Astrid has used her power, so she doesn't get to use that again. Weasel Eye's Goblin Warriors only get 2 dice, so they're tied. They're both rolling 2 dice. Weasel Eyes gets nothing. Astrid gets 1. The Goblin Warriors can only take 1 hit. They're dead? Actually, they're not. If they die, the hero dies. Finger Cutter will die. He'll take the wound, leaving the Goblin Warriors. Finger Cutter takes 1 for the team. And now Iron Skull goes charging down the road, right through Wolf Pass and straight Barzarak. Now this is an Oathborn settlement and they're allies of the Fjordlanders. But the Fjordlanders, being poor allies, have not put anyone in there. Carl should have run up and occupied this, but woulda, shoulda, coulda. Barzarak gets 1 die for the garrison and 1 die because they're in the mountains. Iron Skull's Hill Trolls get 2 heavy die and a light die. Also, he carries the Storm God's Hammer with him. Now, if you're wondering how come the Storm God's Hammer can go here, here, and here, this is because this is the season the combat is taking place in. It's not technically all taking place at the exact same time. The faction, the goblins, have Storm God's Hammer, and they parcel it out to who's going to need it next. The stout Oathborn defenders, they do a hit. No hits. Ouch. The Oathborn drive back the attackers, giving them some damage. The Goblin Elites come charging up. Now if they wanted to wait around till next turn, they could be stacked with Iron Skull and he'd grant them an extra white die. But time is of the essence. The Fjordland player can cast a cantrip, and he does. He casts Giant Strength. One of these light die comes a heavy die. We'll see if that made the difference. They don't have a hero, so no one can wield the Storm God's Hammer. Let's see what the stout defenders can do. Wow, 3 hits. The goblins can't win this. Can they survive at all? One hit. Nope, because that reduces it to 2 hits. 2 hits eliminates them. Now you know my last turn, I piled all the hurt on the kobolds there, which only had 1 die. Because things like this happen. Because goblins control Highguard and they can build here, and they build some goblin elites. They don't have a lot of money at this point. They cast Cart's Chosen, which allows them to look at all the heroes and choose 1. Wait, we're not going to build goblin elites. We're going to build plague flies. And plague flies come with the Swarm Master. It says he swings sweetly and they follow. So if he's got swarm flies with him, he gains flying. And they attack at this point. 1, 2. So here we go again. Now they've got the Storm God's Hammer. It's been passed to the Swarm Master. The Dwarven Garrison. It's 1 hit. The Swarm gets nothing. They too can take a hit, and they do. Now this is where it gets tough for the Goblin. They're getting low on gold. Well, and they can raise this next turn. That'll give them 3 more. They can raise that for 6 more. Or they can keep it and build from there. Should put all my control markers out here. And finally, the siege engine moves into the city. Now the reason I can't raise the last control marker is because if I do that, the goblins collapse. Goblins have completed the action phase. And in their research phase, they have a churn marker. Magic is weak for them this turn. They've only got 1 spell left and 1 blessing. They're going to discard 1 spell and draw 3 more. And that ends the Goblin's turn. Now we begin the Fjordland's income step. Fjordland gains 9 gold, so they now have 11 gold. Now we enter the action phase, and we ready all the Fjordland units. I almost forgot, I have Freya here. She's within 4 of where these rangers were, so when they lost that battle, they would have reappeared right here. They would have reappeared finished, and now in this phase, they flip to fresh. Beginning of the action phase, I can now cast this Blessing, which is Quest to the Western Isles. I can discard 2 spell cards and gain a treasure. In game terms, I'm holding this in my hand until I've researched it. In real terms, I'm putting it face down on the table until the research phase. At this point, I have no spells left. I do have the Iron Golem, which allows any stack that's with the leader that possesses it, so anyone with a hero gets to add a heavy die. That's an 8-sider. So that's pretty cool. But do I want to do any attacking? I'm going to spend 2 and buy a hero. It's Leva Eriksdotter. Her special ability is I can place her in a hex, a forest hex, adjacent to the hex she's at, and she gains a heavy die. That could be useful. So that's exactly what she's going to do. It's within 1 hex. It is in fact the very hex. So they get 2 light die. These Goblin Warriors get 2 light die. And the Fjordlanders also get a heavy die. And she has the Iron Golem with her. That gives her another heavy die. How do these Goblin Warriors do? 2 hits. These are the cheapo gobbos. 2 hits, that's impressive. Attackers get 1 critical hit. Nope, so they take a hit. Now one thing I can ordinarily do is, since they're in or adjacent to a city, is I could build them back up to full strength at a cost of 1. But they happen to be under siege. There's an enemy adjacent to the city. They cannot do that. They're going to fall back to there. The Rangers will occupy the city. Carl and these Rangers will move to here, but they're not going to attack. But now that I've left Bjornfoss empty, I can move into it. I can build something in it. I'm going to spend all 9 of my remaining gold. I'm going to buy Thor. Thor Jotunson, Reaver of the North, destined to rule. Treat 1 light die in Thor's stack as 1 heavy die while occupying a coastal hex. Okay, he's not in a coastal hex, but he's riding a Draken, a blue dragon it looks like. They fly, they have a ranged attack, and they can strike. They're going to fly right up there and attack this swarm. The swarm gets 2 die. Draken gets 2 heavy die, 1 light die, and he has an Iron Golem with him. 3 heavy die. How do these swarms hold up? And they get nothing. If I can get even 1 hit. Oh, I'd like to get 2 hits. I got 3 hits. Well, gang, this looks like dark days indeed for the Goblin host. They've got no money. They've got 7 gold left. And the only way they get money is to take stuff, is to sack cities. And all the cities within range are full of Fjordlanders. We'll have to see what we can do. Completes the action phase for the Fjordlanders, and the sun shines upon them. They get a sigil. So they get 3 spells, which is good because they have none at this point. They get a blessing, they have their treasure, they research it. It's the White Wolf Amulet. Caster and stacked army gain +2 to their movement ratings, and they gain Feral. I'm not sure that gaining Feral is an advantage. I know it means they raise any city they take if they don't have a leader, a hero with them. Well, I can't find where Feral gains any benefit. I know they automatically destroy or raise settlement if they get into it. I know that most Feral armies have only 1 step. They can't take a lot of damage. Now, a Feral army with a hero won't raise a settlement. I don't know. Please let me know in the description if you can think of a benefit for Feral besides the Army of the Night, because they can build Feral units in woods next to Coven. That's a benefit for them. But is there a benefit for anyone else? That ends turn 2. Stay tuned for turn 3.